Welcome to BL Stories, where romance, drama, and unforgettable boys' love come to life. Love knows no limits, and the best stories aren't always straight. Subscribe now and join our growing BL-loving family. Sunlight streamed through the curtains, warming my face as I slowly woke up, resting on Malone's chest. His steady heartbeat comforted me, and I found myself leaning in closer, breathing in his familiar scent. Last night had been intense. Not just physical, but something deeper. Gentle. Tender. He had treated me like I mattered. A soft smile touched my lips, until my thoughts caught up to me. "What are you doing, Michael?" I could hear the warning in my head. "Get up. Walk away before you get in too deep." But I ignored it. I liked Malone. Maybe not love, but something close. Fondness. Connection. Whatever it was, it felt different. He'd shown me what it felt like to be wanted, not just physically, but emotionally too. And yet, the scariest part? I wanted more. I wanted him to want me. Again and again. Suddenly, guilt crept in. A quiet voice inside whispered, "You're just a stand-in for someone else. Remember your place." I sighed and pulled away from Malone carefully. The room felt heavier now. The same bedroom he had once shared with someone else, someone he'd lost. I stepped toward the bathroom, needing space to clear my head. But before I could make it, his hand caught my wrist. "Don't go," he said softly, half awake, his voice full of something I couldn't name. I paused. His eyes met mine for a moment before the reality seemed to catch up to him. His hand dropped, and I felt a part of me crack. This wasn't a fairy tale. This wasn't love. I slipped into the bathroom, let out a long sigh, and tried to push back the confusion swirling inside me. The house felt too big, too quiet, too full of memories that didn't belong to me. When I came out, Malone was sitting up on the bed. "I had a great night," I said, forcing a smile. "Yeah, me too." His smile was bright, boyish even, which only made what I had to say harder. "I should get going. Work's calling." His expression shifted, his smile fading as reality seemed to settle between us like a wall. He stepped closer and wrapped his arms around my waist, pulling me into a kiss. His kisses always left me breathless. I leaned into it, just for a moment, before pulling away. I found my clothes downstairs, still where we'd left them last night in the hallway. I couldn't help but smile at the memory of how eager he'd been. But just as I was putting on my shoes, he followed me down the stairs, still barefoot, and pressed a folded bill into my hand. I frowned. "It's for the cab, Mike. I can't drive you back today," he said gently. I nodded, pocketed the money, and walked out without saying goodbye. My heart felt heavier than before. The cab ride home was quiet, but my thoughts weren't. I kept replaying the night over and over, feeling a strange warmth and confusion twist inside me. I hated how much I missed him already. "Get a grip, Michael." I barely realized we'd arrived until the driver's voice snapped me out of it. I paid, stepped out, and walked into Dorian's apartment. Rob was there. One of the regulars, though not as consistent as Emmett. He barely glanced up at me before muttering a greeting. "Morning. Anything for me?" I asked, trying to sound casual. Rob looked at me for a long moment. He wasn't as stunning as Dorian, but he had his own charm and confidence. People liked him. He knew it too. "Why are you smiling like that?" he asked. "Just being polite," I shrugged. "Who was it this time?" he shot back bluntly. I rolled my eyes but smiled, sitting down beside him. He pulled up the client records on the computer. "Malone Smith, huh? Drop it, Rob." No denial. "Must have been good." I sighed and rubbed my face, not wanting to give him the satisfaction of knowing he was right. But I couldn't help the small smile pulling at my lips. Rob noticed. "I'll take that as a not bad," he smirked. "Rob, have you ever thought about stopping? Not doing this, just being with one person?" I asked quietly before I could stop myself. "If he pays, sure," Rob shrugged. "Dorian's got that kind of deal, doesn't he?" "I'm not for money, just for real." Rob stared at me, then laughed softly. "Wow, that must have been one special guy. Look at you, blushing like a schoolboy." I blinked, realizing I actually was blushing. I stood up abruptly, feeling ridiculous. "Wait," Rob called after me. "One more thing. Swash Glynn booked you again. 3 hours. Tonight." I froze. "Cancel it." "Not happening." Emmett said no cancellations. I walked out, feeling defeated. Maybe Swash just wanted to apologize again. Either way, I wasn't ready. My life finally felt like it was moving forward, but I still wasn't enough. Not for Malone. Not for anyone. This was probably as good as it gets for me. Might as well enjoy it while it lasts. Back at my apartment, I showered and changed. I hadn't slept here in days. It felt less like home and more like a storage closet now. Whatever. I pulled on some casual clothes and headed out. It was Friday. No appointments, other than Malone saying he might want to meet up again. But after last night, who knew? I decided to give myself a break. I grabbed a cab and went to the movies. Maybe a good film could quiet my thoughts. On my way in, I spotted Emmett and Alex, sitting close together, whispering and smiling like no one else existed. It was sweet if a little sappy. I noticed Emmett was taking fewer jobs lately, letting the newer guys handle most of the work. But rookies never lasted long. I didn't have time for guilt. Or shame. And yet, for the first time, I wondered if I wanted something more. Something real. I returned to my apartment around early evening and simply sat in silence, breathing in the stillness of my own space. I paid for this air, I might as well enjoy it. My mind kept drifting back to Malone. Even if I wanted to start something real with him, would he expect me to give up the life I was living now? And depending on someone? That thought scared me more than any struggle I'd faced before. I sighed. This wasn't going to work. The sooner I let go of the idea, the better. Just then my phone vibrated. A message from Emmett. "Swash wants you in 30 minutes. Get ready." I could almost picture him grinning as he typed. Emmett loved stirring things up. I freshened up, tried to look decent, and headed out. It took forever to find a cab, so I knew I was going to be late. By the time I pulled up at Swash's apartment building, it was 7:23 p.m. 23 minutes late. Well, I could adjust my leaving time to make up for it. I had barely stepped out of the cab when I saw Swash waiting near the entrance. He brightened up the moment he saw me. The cab drove off, leaving the two of us standing there, silent. "Michael." He spoke first. There was so much he wanted to say, I could see it in his expression. Expressing feelings wasn't exactly his strength, but then again, it wasn't mine either. His eyes, though, said enough. He was sorry. Sorry for what happened 6 years ago. For years ago. Even for last Friday morning. I kept my expression neutral. Swash looked vulnerable. He stepped closer and suddenly pulled me into a hug. "Michael, I don't know how to fix this. I want to make things right, but I can't, and it's killing me. I hate knowing I hurt you, and I can't take it back." His voice cracked. "I know I can never say it enough, and I should have said it long before now, but I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, Mike. For everything." To my surprise, he started crying. I stood there, frozen for a second. This man, the one who'd once hurt me so much, was now falling apart in my arms. That was enough. I hugged him back, patting his back gently. "It's okay, Swash." He sniffled. The silence stretched for a moment, until he quietly said, "You know, that's the first time you've said my name." I shrugged, more relieved that he'd stopped crying than anything else. Maybe now we could both go back to being strangers. Or, at least move forward. I wasn't sure which I wanted. "Want to come inside?" he asked softly. I hesitated. I thought we'd already said what needed to be said. But as the chilly September wind picked up, I nodded. Sure. Why not? We walked into the building in silence, both lost in our own thoughts. Once inside his apartment, I sat on the couch, instinctively facing the same painting I remembered from last time. There was something about it, something that gave me hope. Maybe the artist had intended something completely different, but that was the beauty of art. It could mean whatever you needed it to. Swash sat beside me watching quietly. Finally he spoke. "The team made that for me after I got kicked off." "What?" I turned, confused. I got kicked off the football team in my final year. The coaches said my performance was slipping, but everyone knew it was because I came out. You came out? To your team? Why? I came out to everyone, he said simply. I waited until my final year, so it wouldn't ruin my whole education. I wanted to be honest about who I was, but I also had a plan. I made sure I could stand on my own, in case everything fell apart after. He paused, then smiled a little. I used the sports scholarship to actually study. And every vacation, I worked in a food processing plant. It was hard, keeping up the image of a dumb jock while planning my future, but I did it. By the time I graduated, I had a job lined up. Eventually, I moved into advertising and public relations. Different salary grade, but same company. I knew the people. They were like family. I sat quietly, absorbing it all. Swash wasn't just the guy I remembered. He was smart, strategic, strong, and somehow, even after everything, I felt genuinely happy for him. Why are you smiling like that? He asked, confused. You're less of a dumbass than I thought, I teased, grinning wide enough for him to know I was joking. He laughed and punched my shoulder playfully. It stung. He was still strong, but I let it slide. We talked about other things after that. He told me about his son, Bradley. How he didn't even know he had a son until the boy was 3. His ex, Cheryl, had only told him when she thought he was about to make it big and wanted child support. But when Swash came out as gay, she moved on, married someone else. Still, he got partial custody. Bradley spent summers with him, and they always made plans for holidays. Swash lit up when he talked about his son. Seeing him like that, it was nice. It was real. I remembered the boy from school who once hurt me, and yet here he was, a father, a good one at that, and a surprisingly decent man. When it was time for me to leave, we walked together to the lobby. This time, I remembered to say goodbye. Before I could leave, Swash pulled me into another quick hug. Thanks. For what? I asked. For giving me another chance. He let me go after a few seconds, smiling softly as he waved goodbye. I stepped outside into the cold night, feeling lighter somehow. My mom always said forgiveness was more for you than for the person you forgave. Maybe she was right. I called a cab and slid into the back seat just as my phone buzzed loudly. A message. From Malone. At your apartment. Was hoping to see you. Are you coming home tonight? I stared at the screen, blinking. What? My heart skipped. I had no idea what to think, or what to feel. Thoughts raced through my mind as I sat quietly in the cab on the way home. Swash had insisted on covering the fare, even though I didn't want him to. I hated feeling like I owed him anything. The city lights blurred past the windows, painting the background for the endless thoughts spinning through my head. I'd forgiven Swash. I was developing feelings for Malone. And somewhere in the middle of it all, I was starting to wonder if I could actually change my life. Maybe I envied Emmett and Alex a little too much, the simplicity of their happiness, the normalcy of it. But reality snapped me back. My rent was still short by $200. Maybe by next week, I'd scrape it together. Swash, though, he'd changed so much. He even had a child now. I'd always liked kids. Sometimes, I let myself imagine adopting someday. Maybe I'd make a good father, once I figured my life out. For now, that dream would have to wait. The cab slowed as we reached my building. I glanced around before opening the door, only to spot Malone's car parked across the street. Strange. I didn't see him anywhere. Then, suddenly, a hand smacked the rear window right behind me. I jumped. It was Malone. Smiling like he'd just caught me by surprise, which he had. I paid the driver and stepped out onto the sidewalk. He stood there, in the middle of the street, like he didn't care who saw him. He opened his mouth to speak, but I cut him off, too confused not to ask. How did you know where I live? I called your office? He hesitated. Some guy named Robert told me. Of course. I cursed Robert silently for being so straightforward. I stared at Malone, wondering why he didn't just call or text me. Why show up here? Were you working? He asked hesitantly. Yes. I said it without thinking. Technically, visiting Swash had been work. Or close enough. I wasn't sure why I didn't just tell him the truth. I missed you, he said suddenly. Seriously? I was gone half a day. I still missed you. His words caught me off guard. Was he getting attached? People sometimes did. I wasn't sure what to make of it. He stepped closer and kissed me, gently at first, then deeper, like he needed it. I kissed him back, almost without thinking. His scent, his presence, it was familiar now. Comforting. I guess you missed me too, he said softly when we finally pulled apart. I managed a small smile, though part of me hesitated. I didn't want him coming into my apartment. No one did. Letting him in would feel like letting him into more than just my space. It would be tearing down a wall I wasn't ready to break. Let's go to your place, I suggested. He chuckled, tilting his head. But we're already here. My place is a disaster. Yours is better. Come on, let's go. He seemed to think about it, then finally sighed, lacing his fingers through mine. Without another word, he led me toward his car. I laughed softly and followed him, slipping into the passenger seat and buckling up. After the way he drove last time, I wasn't taking any chances. As he started the engine, he glanced over and smiled at me. We pulled into the night. I watched the city pass by through the window. Friday night. The streets were alive with people chasing freedom from their work weeks. Some living the good life. Some struggling to get through another day. And me? I was somewhere in between. I sold myself for a living. It wasn't glamorous, but at least it kept me off the streets. Yet for the first time, I wondered if maybe there could be more. Maybe Swash had planted that thought. Maybe Malone was making me believe in something better. Then I noticed something. Wait, you're not taking me home? I asked, confused. I can't drive all the way back with you beside me, he said softly. I'd lose my mind. I blushed, looking away. Why did that make me feel wanted? It was strange, but part of me liked it. When we pulled up to a familiar hotel, I followed him inside. Thankfully, the receptionist wasn't the one who judged me last time. Malone collected the key, and we rode the elevator together. As soon as the doors closed, he gently pinned me against the wall, resting his forehead against mine. His touch wasn't rushed. It was like he simply needed to be close. I didn't stop him. I closed my eyes and let myself breathe. When the elevator doors opened, a surprised hotel cleaner glanced at us awkwardly before hurrying away. Malone chuckled and took my hand, pulling me down the hallway toward the room. In the quiet of the suite, I saw it in his eyes, the same look he always gave me when he wanted to say something but didn't know how. But words weren't necessary right now. And for once, I didn't mind the silence. Later that night, long after the city had fallen asleep, I found myself lying beside him, staring at the ceiling. I wasn't sure when, but at some point, I had stopped thinking about the past. About regrets. I just felt safe. And that scared me more than anything. I need you to please. Say it, Malone whispered against my skin. His voice was low and teasing, but there was something deeper beneath it. I felt my heart racing. His closeness was overwhelming, yet comforting. I closed my eyes, struggling to steady my breathing as he held me there, waiting. His gaze was locked on me, knowing he had me completely caught in this moment. Please, I breathed out softly. Please what? He asked, his tone gentle but insistent. I hesitated. I wasn't used to asking for what I wanted. Not like this. But something about him made me let go. Please, don't stop. His expression shifted, and in that moment, he wrapped me in his arms like I was something precious. What followed was something I could only describe as surrendering. Not just physically, but emotionally. And as strange as it sounds, it wasn't about control. It was about trust. Hours passed before either of us spoke again. When everything finally slowed, Malone rested quietly against me, his breath soft against the back of my neck. His hand searched for mine in the silence, and I let him find it. You're beautiful, he whispered, his voice raspy from exhaustion. Did you know that? I blinked, startled. Beautiful? That wasn't a word I was used to hearing. Maybe he was just caught in the afterglow. I wasn't exactly a model. I stayed in shape because my job demanded it, but no one had ever called me beautiful before. Handsome, maybe. Attractive, sometimes. But beautiful? I stared up at the ceiling, memories of my past creeping in. Growing up in an orphanage. running away before I turned 18, living on the streets, losing friends. I'd done things I wasn't proud of just to survive. I tried to numb the pain once, experimenting with things I shouldn't have, until a friend didn't wake up. That day haunted me. What are you thinking about? Malone's voice broke into my thoughts. I shook my head lightly, keeping my voice calm. Just stuff. What kind of stuff? Random things. Am I part of those random things? No. Should I be jealous? He asked, teasing me softly. I laughed, unable to help it. It was a light sound, but it felt real. He smiled, then reached over and wrapped his arm around me, pulling me close. I let him. Without thinking, I laced my fingers through his hand resting against my chest. I didn't know what I was feeling. Maybe I was just caught in the moment. Maybe I was confusing connection with something deeper. Or maybe I was hoping for more than just temporary warmth. The thought unsettled me. He was asleep soon after, his breathing soft and steady. I watched him for a while. He looked peaceful, even as strands of his messy blonde hair fell across his forehead. He was older than me by at least a decade, yet in that moment he looked so calm, so steady. I remembered thinking when I first met him that I wouldn't mind if he asked me out. That was barely 2 days ago. And somehow, he'd already tangled me up emotionally. I slipped out of bed quietly when I heard the flapping sound from outside. Walking to the window, I saw a large rainbow flag dancing in the wind from a nearby building. A quiet reminder. Gay pride. I watched it for a long moment. I was gay. I didn't feel particularly proud of my life, but I guess things could have been worse. At least I wasn't lying in a gutter. I wasn't behind bars. I wasn't begging on the streets. But sometimes, I still felt like I didn't belong anywhere. I glanced back at Malone, sleeping peacefully, unaware of the storm in my mind. Out of all the people he could have chosen, people without the baggage, without the scars, he picked me. What was I even doing? I couldn't be what he needed. Not really. Not when he was still haunted by someone else's memory. My phone rang suddenly, breaking the silence. I scrambled to grab it before it woke him. Stepping into the bathroom, I answered softly. Hello. At first, there was just the sound of someone crying. I pulled the phone away, checking the unfamiliar number. Slowly, I brought it back to my ear. Hello. I said again, more cautiously this time. Michael. The voice was shaky, tearful, and familiar. Emmett. You need to come to the hospital, now. His voice cracked. What happened? It's Jason, he was stabbed. The words hit me like a blow to the chest. I stood there frozen, the silence stretching between us. Then finally I whispered, no, not Jason. But I already knew. It was real. The early morning breeze stung my eyes, making it harder to see as I frantically searched for a cab. It was nearly impossible to find one at 5 in the morning. Stealing Malone's car crossed my mind for a second, but I wasn't about to create more problems for myself. Finally, a cab appeared and I practically begged the driver to take me. He looked half asleep, but he nodded. St. Joseph's Hospital was massive. I couldn't believe that after all these years of living here, I had never noticed the place. As soon as the cab stopped, I jumped out, shoving a $100 bill at the driver without a second thought. Too much? Probably. But I didn't care. Not now. Emmett was waiting just inside the reception area. He looked pale, his eyes red from crying. I spotted Alex nearby, sitting silently with his head in his hands. When Emmett saw me, he rushed forward and pulled me into a hug. His whole body was shaking. It's bad, Mike. Jason? He got stabbed, Emmett whispered, his voice breaking. I felt my stomach drop. My breath caught. Where? What happened? My voice cracked. Emmett wiped at his eyes. Some guys attacked him. Hate crime. They jumped him after he left a client's place. Carved slurs into his skin. He didn't even have a chance to fight back. You know, Jason, he could have taken them, but he didn't see them coming. His words crushed me. Jason, of all people, the strongest one among us. If he could fall so easily, what chance did any of us have? Suddenly, I felt smaller than ever. Was it in Boys Town? I asked quietly. No. It happened around Park West. Someone found him and called 911 before he bled out. I swallowed hard, glancing at Alex. He looked completely drained, emotionally and physically. His hands trembled slightly as he wiped tears from his eyes. How did you know he was here? He listed Alex as his emergency contact. I hesitated. That surprised me. Out of everyone, why Alex? I knew they'd once been close, roommates, even dated briefly, but Jason had so many others he could have listed. Dorian, Robert, yet it was Alex. I didn't ask. It didn't matter. I placed a hand on Emmett's back as we moved to sit down. Hey, I said softly to Alex. Hey, his voice was hoarse. He tried to smile, but it didn't quite reach his eyes. I sat beside him quietly, feeling useless. I wasn't sure how close I really was to Jason. Close enough to care, but not close enough to fall apart. At least, that's what I thought. Maybe I was just trying not to think of the worst. If I believed he'd survive, maybe he would. What do we do now? I asked. We wait, Alex said flatly. No updates yet. They said they're trying to stabilize him. We sat in silence as doctors and nurses passed by, each one causing Emmett to stand up, hoping for news. Eventually, Alex had to hold him down to keep him from pacing. Time dragged. After a while, Emmett drifted to sleep on Alex's shoulder. I sat alone, staring at the cold hospital floor. I thought about Malone. He'd probably wake up soon and find me gone. What would he think? That I'd left him? I reached for my phone, unsure whether to explain or just let him wonder. Could you call Tom? Alex's voice startled me. Tom. Jason's brother. He needs to know. I hesitated. Tom lived out of state. I'd heard Jason say they didn't talk much. His brother hadn't exactly accepted him, and I doubted Tom knew what Jason did for a living. Still, Alex was right. He deserved to know. Alex handed me his phone, the number already pulled up. I just stared at it. Come on, Matt. We don't know how bad this will get. Tom should be ready. He's going to be fine, I said, my voice firmer than I felt. You don't know that. I didn't reply. I didn't want to. If I called Tom, it would make all of this too real. It would feel like giving up hope. Before Alex could argue further, a young female doctor appeared. Mr. Alexander Miles? Both of us stood instantly. How is he? Alex asked, his voice shaking. We've stabilized him, but he's lost a lot of blood. He has O-negative blood, which is rare. We're checking the nearby banks, but we're running low. Does he have any family who might help? Alex looked at me. I knew what that look meant. It was time. He grabbed his phone from my hand and stepped toward the doctor. It's me. Yeah, I know it's been a while. I'm putting a doctor on the line. Please, just listen to what she says. He handed the phone to the doctor, who hesitated only briefly before explaining the situation. I watched her face as she spoke. She asked Tom if he knew Jason's blood type. Then she said softly, "Oh," and looked down. I couldn't take it. I turned and walked out of the hospital without a word. Mike. Emmett's voice called after me, but I didn't stop. Out in the freezing air, I leaned against the cold wall and let myself fall apart. I cried, harder than I'd cried in a long time. Tears streamed down my face as memories of Jason flooded my mind. His goofy smile. The times we hung out late at night. The way he always insisted on hugging goodbye. I didn't want to lose anyone else. My chest hurt. I couldn't breathe properly. The wind was cold, but I didn't care. I wanted to feel it. I needed to feel something other than helpless. A hand touched my shoulder. I turned and saw Emmett. Without a word, I fell into his arms. This time, he was the one comforting me. And I let him. The cold morning wind stung my eyes as I waited desperately for a cab. At 5 a.m., finding one felt impossible. I considered taking Malone's car, but stealing his keys would only add to the mess of emotions already weighing me down. Finally, a cab appeared and, practically begging the driver, I climbed in. He looked exhausted but nodded silently. St. Joseph's Hospital was bigger than I expected. Strange how I'd lived here so long and never noticed it. I leapt out of the cab, tossing the driver a large bill without thinking twice. I didn't care about money at that moment. Inside, Emmett spotted me first and rushed over, pulling me into a shaky hug. His face was streaked with tears. Nearby, Alex sat with his head in his hands. I hadn't realized just how close they were to Jason. That didn't mean I wasn't scared. I was. I had very few friends, and Jason was one of them. Jason got stabbed, Emmett whispered, his voice cracking as he cried harder. I felt numb. Where? How? Some guys attacked him after he left a client's place. They even carved words into his skin. His voice broke again. I couldn't breathe. Jason was strong, the strongest of all of us, and if he had been hurt this badly, what chance did I have in this world? Was it in Boys Town? I asked. No, somewhere near Park West. I nodded, too shaken to speak further. We walked together to the reception area where Alex looked completely defeated. I held his hand silently, offering what little comfort I could. Hours passed with no real news. Doctors came and went. Each time Emmett jumped to his feet only to sit back down in disappointment. Eventually, Alex had to hold him to keep him still. I sat there, silent and helpless. At one point, Alex asked me to call Jason's brother. I hesitated. Maybe I didn't want to accept how serious this was. But eventually, when the doctor told us Jason had a rare blood type and needed donations, Alex made the call himself. I couldn't take hearing anymore. I ran outside, barely hearing Emmett call after me. Out there, away from the sterile halls, I broke down. I cried harder than I had in years. Jason couldn't die. I replayed memories of him. His goofy smile, his awkward hugs, the way he always had your back when you needed him. I didn't want to lose anyone else. When Emmett found me, I didn't have the strength to speak. He simply hugged me while I cried on his shoulder. By 7 a.m., the doctor gently suggested we leave. Jason was stable, but they needed space to work. Alex drove us back in silence. When we stopped outside my apartment, I barely noticed. I muttered a quiet thanks and started toward my building. Then I heard my name. Michael. Mike. I turned. Malone. He looked worried and breathless. Where were you? I called over and over, I thought. His voice stopped when he saw my face. His expression shifted instantly. What happened? My friend, he was attacked. He's in the hospital. Without hesitation, Malone stepped forward and wrapped his arms around me. I let myself sink into him. I couldn't cry anymore, but standing there, in his arms, I felt safe. Come on, let me take you home. I nodded. I didn't want to be alone. I drifted in and out of sleep in his car, only waking when we arrived at his place. He led me gently inside, guiding me to his bedroom. There, I collapsed on his bed, curling up and replaying the nightmare of the past few hours. I just wanted everything to stop. I just wanted Jason to be okay. And then, I let myself fall asleep. When I woke, it was dark. Malone was downstairs. I followed the sound of running water until I found him in the kitchen, washing dishes. His presence felt grounding. I poured a glass of juice and drank silently. You feeling any better? He asked softly. I nodded faintly. He turned, drying his hands on a towel, his expression warm and concerned. I noticed, absurdly, how the light and shadows made him look almost like some brooding movie villain. I laughed under my breath. What's funny? Just, you look like a murderous chef right now. He chuckled and walked toward me. I was going for a sexy chef, actually. Then, without warning, he pulled me into a gentle kiss. Slow, warm, reassuring. I let him. I needed that closeness, something to remind me I wasn't alone. He didn't rush anything. He held me there, quietly, letting me rest my head against his chest. You're not alone, Mike. Okay, he whispered. I nodded. For the first time in hours, I believed him. A wave of relief flooded my heart as I answered Emmett's call. His voice was shaking, but this time from joy. Jason's okay, he said excitedly. Without thinking, I ran to the hospital. Emmett pulled me into a hug the second I arrived, tears still shining in his eyes. He led me straight to Jason's room. When I stepped inside, I couldn't believe what I saw. Jason was sitting up, talking and laughing with Alex like nothing had happened. He wore hospital clothes and looked as healthy as ever. Typical Jason. resilient to the core. When he saw me, he jumped up and wrapped me in one of his famous bear hugs. Tears stung my eyes as I held onto him. "Jason," it was all I could manage to say. He stepped back, smiling that same old grin. I glanced past him and saw Robert in the corner of the room, giving me one of his rare, soft smiles. Even Robert felt something today. "The doctor said I can go home later today," Jason said. "I'll just need a follow-up in a week." I nodded, still a little stunned. After a few more moments of chatting and light teasing, we helped Jason get ready. He even hugged the nurse who wheeled him to the front. That was Jason for you, always ready with a hug. Once outside, Alex took the driver's seat of his small car. Jason rode up front beside him, while the rest of us squeezed into the back. It wasn't comfortable, but nobody cared. Jason was alive. That was all that mattered. The ride home was filled with laughter. Jason and Alex joked like old times, with Emmett chiming in now and then. Robert and I stayed quiet, just listening. Watching. It felt good, like things were finally returning to normal. Then I glanced out the window and saw headlights. There was no time to react. The crash hit Jason's side. Metal screamed. Glass shattered. The world spun. I saw Alex slam into Jason as the car twisted. I heard Emmett shout. Robert hit me as we jolted sideways. Jason's head whipped around violently, his body folding in an unnatural way as blood splattered the dashboard. His lifeless eyes locked onto mine, and I screamed. I shot upright in bed, drenched in sweat. It was just a dream. A nightmare. My heart pounded against my ribs like it was trying to escape. I looked around, disoriented. Pale light filtered through the curtains from the street lamp outside. Beside me, Malone snored softly, completely at peace. I rubbed my eyes, trying to shake the terror clinging to me. Grabbing my phone from where it lay near my jeans, I needed to ground myself. Anything to prove I was awake. Reality. 9 missed calls. All from last night. My breath caught in my throat. 5 from Emmett. 4 from an unknown number. Panic clawed at me. Had something actually happened? I hesitated, staring at the screen, too afraid to call back. Jason's alive. Jason's alive. Please, let him be okay. I repeated the words like a prayer. Eventually, I wiped my eyes and crawled back into bed, curling close to Malone's sleeping body. His steady breathing calmed me until sleep came again. I woke to the feeling of soft kisses against my neck. Malone's gentle voice followed, pulling me from sleep. I returned the kiss softly but pulled away, not wanting morning breath to spoil the moment. He chuckled and wandered into the bathroom. I left money for a cab, he called out. I got dressed slowly. The $100 bill on the dresser felt heavier than it should have. Guilt gnawed at me. I shouldn't have been here, wrapped in comfort, when Jason had been fighting for his life. Once I was in the cab, I called the unknown number. Hello? I asked hesitantly. Hey, just saw your missed calls from last night. Is Emmett with you? I frowned. Who is this? It's Swash. Oh, that explained a lot. Robert probably gave him my number. Typical. I just wanted to see you last night, Swash continued. Don't worry, I'd pay. I rolled my eyes. I was busy. I didn't feel like explaining more. You busy today? Yes. I wasn't sure if it was a lie or not. Alright, be safe. He hung up. I stared at my phone for a moment before sighing. Be safe? Since when did Swash get so sentimental? The cab slowed as we neared my building. Then the driver surprised me. You're Meat, right? He asked suddenly, glancing at me through the rearview mirror. What? I've seen your photos online. I froze, unsure how to respond. Didn't expect to meet you in person, he said nervously, then added, think I could get a little something? I won't charge you for the ride. For a moment I said nothing. Then, leaning slightly toward him, I let my voice drop just enough to make him shiver. I don't think you could handle it. His expression fell. I paid him. Full price. Some things, I reminded myself, weren't worth selling. With a small smirk, I pressed the cab fare against the driver's chest and stepped out, shutting the door behind me. Good luck with your disappointment, I thought as I hurried into my apartment building and closed the door behind me. Almost immediately, I pulled out my phone and called Emmett. "Sorry I missed your calls. How's Jason?" I asked. "He's doing great. He woke up. Actually, he was asking for you." "For me? Why?" "I don't know. Maybe he just wanted to see you." "Oh, okay. I'll swing by later." "Alex says hi, by the way. He hopes you're okay. You didn't go drinking, did you? You looked pretty rough yesterday." "I'm fine. Just needed sleep, that's all." "Alone?" Emmett teased. I rolled my eyes, breathing out slowly before answering. "No. I stayed with Malone. He offered to keep me company, and I said yes." "Could you sleep without Alex next to you?" "Ugh. I get your point," he sighed. "Take care, Salami." Bye. I ended the call and headed upstairs to my apartment. Once inside, I locked the door behind me. A shower. That's what I needed. My phone buzzed again as I headed to the bathroom. I answered without checking the caller ID. "Hello. It's Nathan. You've got a request for tonight. Michael Clive, 21. Lives in Lakeview. I'll text you the address, remember to delete it." "Thanks, Nate. Have you seen Jason?" "Not yet. I'll go later today." I'm scared for him and for myself. We're not exactly safe out there, are we? We never were. Anyway, just be careful. You too. I hung up. Nathan was one of the newer guys. The typical fresh-faced type. Lean build, blonde hair, blue eyes, and that little dimple when he smiled. He'd been with us for 4 months now. At first, I thought he'd bail like so many others, but he proved me wrong. He usually worked Sundays, the shift nobody wanted. Emmett always took Sundays off, and Dorian had programmed the site so that no Sunday requests could reach him. Same with Wednesdays. The cold water hit my face as I stepped into the shower, snapping me out of my thoughts. It always took a few seconds for the heater to kick in. I shampooed my hair as I let my mind wander. The shower was where I thought most clearly. Malone wanted me. That much was obvious. Maybe I should just let it happen, make life easier. Swash seemed interested too, though I wasn't sure if he was trying to make up for past mistakes or if he genuinely wanted something. Jason was awake. There was hope now. But me? I was still stuck in the same cycle. Still needing rent. Still waiting for the next request. I hadn't even checked my bank account. Those online payments had to be going somewhere. I rinsed off the shampoo and started washing my body, running my hands over the muscles Gio had basically forced me to build. After what happened after the assault, I didn't want to feel weak ever again. Gio, straight as they came, had been Jason's friend, but he took me under his wing, pushed me, trained me, shared those protein shakes, and even the disgusting raw eggs. I got stronger. Not as big as Gio, obviously, but strong enough not to get shoved around so easily. My photos had barely gone live before my bookings doubled. I finished my shower and got dressed, jeans and a graphic tee. Simple, comfortable. And then I left to find food. The diner down the street was my usual Sunday morning spot. The pancakes were legendary. I grabbed a booth by the window and picked up the menu, even though I didn't need it. Why do you even bother with that menu? You always order the same thing. I looked up and saw Bridget standing there, her smile somewhere between happy and exasperated. "Nice to see you too, B. So, let me guess. 2 pancakes, 3 waffles for crepes, blueberries, whipped cream, extra butter, and a glass of cold milk. Did I miss anything?" "Wow. You said that like it's an actual menu option. You're the only one who orders that, you know." "Really? I thought it was a classic. We literally named it after you." "What?" She spun around and called back to the kitchen. "Heather, we need a Mikey. Coming right up." I blinked in disbelief, then burst out laughing. My stomach hurt from how hard I laughed. Of all the marks I thought I'd leave in the world, apparently, it was a special order at a neighborhood diner. Bridget sauntered off looking far too pleased with herself. I leaned back, glancing around the place. Sundays used to be busier before that trendy cafe opened across the street, but the loyal customers always came back here. Familiar faces. And then, I noticed someone. Across the room, a guy was glaring at me over his plate of bacon. He looked like a college student, with styled hair and the usual brand name shirt. Not bad looking, but the patchy beard wasn't doing him any favors. I held his gaze for a moment, and then, unsettlingly, he smiled. He picked up his butter knife and, with an unnervingly slow motion, dragged it across his neck like a threat. I froze. "What the heck?" I whispered, my smile fading completely. His eyes locked onto mine, cold and unblinking. I wasn't exactly an expert in nonverbal communication, but the message was clear. He wasn't just curious about me, he wanted me gone. Maybe worse. My thoughts flicked to Jason. Was it someone like this who attacked him? I'd never understand people like that. Why did it bother them so much who someone loved? People like him could hate quietly and move on, but no, they had to hurt someone. The guy kept chewing his bacon, glaring at me between bites. Jason didn't deserve what happened to him. He was Jason. Friendly, warm-hearted, incapable of hate. And someone still stabbed him, left him bleeding out in the street. That thought simmered inside me. So fine. If this guy wanted a staring contest, I'd give him one. Bridget broke the tension when she dropped my plate in front of me. "Here's your Mikey." I forced myself to focus on eating. Every now and then, I glanced up. He was still watching me. Sometimes, he looked down at his plate, but the challenge never fully ended. Even after I paid and stood up to leave, he didn't move. I stepped outside, but I wasn't about to walk blindly into whatever this was. I lingered, standing out of his view but keeping watch. Sure enough, he stepped out a few moments later, scanning the street. His eyes met mine again. This time, though, he just frowned, looked me over carefully, and then, surprisingly, his expression shifted to something like indifference. He huffed and turned to walk away. "No way. Hey!" I called after him. "What's your problem?" He paused, turned, and gave me a small, tired smile. "Nothing. Thought you were someone else." I narrowed my eyes. "Let me guess. Jeff." That caught him off guard. His eyes widened slightly. "Yeah, you know him?" "Do I? Did I?" I hesitated. "Not really. Someone just said I looked like him. Also told me he was dead." The guy frowned deeply. "Dead? Since when?" "About a year ago." He scoffed. "Jeff ain't dead. I saw him 2 months ago. That guy still owes me money. If you see him, tell him Francis is running out of patience." I blinked, stunned. He gave me one last glance and walked off, hands in his pockets. I stood frozen, mind racing. Jeff wasn't dead? Then why did Malone tell me that? Who was lying to me? And what? I shoved the thought aside for now. Jason came first. I hailed a cab and asked for St. Joseph's. At the hospital, the receptionist had me wait until Jason's doctor came to meet me. Thankfully, it was the same woman from the day before. She smiled gently as she updated me. Jason was stable, for now. His heart had gone irregular twice since waking up due to severe anemia. They'd barely managed to get him a transfusion, and since his blood type was rare, they were focusing on treatments to help his body produce more blood on its own. There was talk of putting him into a medically induced sleep to conserve his energy, but Alex had refused that idea, worried Jason wouldn't wake up again. Instead, they were keeping him on strong sedatives to help his body rest. I listened quietly, processing every word. Oddly enough, I understood more of the medical jargon than I thought I would. I wouldn't be allowed to speak to Jason today, but I could see him. I stepped into his room and watched him sleep. With all the tubes and wires, it was hard to see him properly, but under it all, he looked peaceful. I whispered softly, "Get better soon, okay?" Then I thanked the doctor and left the hospital. Outside, the skies were heavy with gray clouds, and the wind had picked up. It looked like rain wasn't far behind. I flagged another cab, this time not even sure where I wanted to go. Eventually, I told the driver to take me to Dorian's place. I figured being around Nathan was better than sitting at home alone. When I arrived, I let myself in with the spare key all of us on station duty had. Inside, I was surprised to find a stranger sitting at the computer. Nathan was sprawled lazily on the couch. "Hey guys, what's going on?" I asked. "Nothing much," Nathan replied flatly. The stranger, who'd been typing, glanced at me briefly. I looked at Nathan and raised an eyebrow. nodding slightly towards the new guy. "Oh, right. My bad. Michael, this is Jeremy." "Jeremy, Michael." "Hey," Jeremy said quietly. He was young-looking. Pale skin, brown hair. Honestly, he looked about 16. I glanced at Nathan, concerned. Nathan caught my expression and sat up, sighing. "Relax. He's 22. I blinked. "Seriously?" Jeremy blushed and looked away. Nathan burst out laughing. "Yeah." I didn't believe it either at first, but he showed ID and everything. Guess he's just lucky like that. I shook my head, stunned. Jeremy looked like a kid, but apparently he wasn't. Probably why Dorian hired him. Some clients probably wanted someone who looked young without actually being underage. Creepy, but legal. I sat beside Nathan, needing to shake off the weird vibe. "I saw Jason today." Nathan's expression changed immediately. "How is he?" "Stable. But it's rough. The doctors considered putting him into a coma just to help him recover." "A coma?" Nathan frowned. "How does that help?" "His heart's too weak. They're trying to slow him down, save his energy." "Oh." Nathan fell silent. I leaned my head back, thoughts drifting to Malone again. Why did he lie about Jeff? I hated secrets. They only led to messes. Before I could dwell on it further, the computer chimed, and a message popped up on the screen. Something was about to happen. "Nathan? What's going on?" Jeremy asked. Nathan leaned forward, curious. "What does it say?" I could tell he was eager for anything to break the boredom of a Sunday shift. Sundays were slow for everyone. Mondays weren't much better, but I usually claimed them to stretch my weekends. I hadn't kept a proper job in months. Unlike Emmett, Robert, and Jason, who all had day jobs to fall back on. "Glenn requested Michael in 40 minutes, Nathan said, checking the time. For 4 hours. Paid by card. House visit." "What?" I sat up, annoyed. I had a strong suspicion Swash did this on purpose. Card payments were harder to cancel, and my schedule had looked clear until evening. Nathan was clearly enjoying my frustration. "Really, Mike? Seems like lately you're only working with Swash and Malone. You must really be good at your job." "Shut up, Nathan." He grinned mischievously. I rolled my eyes and leaned back on the couch. Sure, I didn't have to accept every request, but rejecting too many meant complaints. Complaints meant dealing with Dorian. And nobody wanted that. Not even me. Honestly, I didn't even know why I was so hesitant to see Swash again. He wasn't bad company, all things considered. If I could ignore the past, he was more than okay. He was successful, charming, and seemed like he genuinely wanted to spend time with me. Maybe I just needed to let go of whatever was holding me back. "Fine," I muttered, mostly to myself. I stood up and headed for the door. "Got your stuff?" "Condoms, bloop." Nathan teased. "I'm sure Swash has everything ready," I said, not even looking back. Ooh, I love a man with a plan. The city blurred past as the cab carried me towards Swash's condo. I always caught myself staring at the skyline during drives like this. Civilization fascinated me, the way people built systems meant to unite us, yet still managed to divide us. Money, property, influence, they always drew the lines. And no matter the era, no matter the city, there was always one profession guaranteed to survive. The escort. I half smiled at the thought. The cab dropped me off in front of Swash's building. I paid, then walked to the door buzzer and pressed his number. No response. I pressed again. Still nothing. Frustrated, I stepped away, planning to head back toward the street when I felt a sudden splash of cold water down my back. I gasped and spun around, ready to snap, but stopped when I saw him. Swash stood nearby, laughing, holding a garden hose. Sunlight hit him just right. His simple white t-shirt clung to him where it was wet, outlining the solid muscles beneath. His running shorts and sandals made him look casual, approachable. Like the version of him from years ago, not the polished, corporate man he'd become. He sprayed water at my face, snapping me out of it. I laughed, shielding my face. "Are you serious right now?" "Sorry," he chuckled. "I was washing the car." "You wash your own car?" "Yeah." "Could get it done at a drive-thru, but I like checking things myself. Makes sure everything's good for the week. Cool. I didn't know much about cars. Didn't even have a license. Alex had offered to teach me, but driving in city traffic? No thanks. Give me a few minutes to finish up? Swash asked. No problem. Take your time. Wouldn't want you missing something important and blaming me. He laughed again and sprayed me with water once more. I jumped back, laughing. Swash. Seriously? That just encouraged him. He chased me around the front of the building, laughing like we were kids again. I hadn't felt this carefree in a long time. After a few minutes, I gave up, panting and laughing. He declared victory by soaking me completely. We walked upstairs together, still catching our breath. Inside, he tossed me a towel and some spare clothes. I took them into the guest room I usually used. As I started changing, Swash walked straight in without knocking. Hey! I yelped, covering myself awkwardly. Do you mind? He grinned. Come on. 3 house calls and I don't even get to see you shirtless? Feels like a ripoff. I knew it. You got me drenched on purpose. Obviously, he said laughing. Give me a second to change, all right? Sure. He stood by the door. Privacy, please? I prompted. Right. He slapped his hands over his eyes. Then spread his fingers. I couldn't help but laugh. He was impossible. Sighing, I dropped the towel. He peeked properly this time, and his hands fell away entirely. Wow. For some reason, I felt self-conscious. Which was ridiculous, considering how many people had seen me like this before. But with Swash, it felt different. He was staring. I turned my back to him, half laughing. He let out a teasing whistle. Mike. What? Look at me. Why? Just do it. Curious, I turned around. He slapped himself lightly on the cheek. I blinked. What was that for? He smiled. Now we're even. It hit me a moment later. Years ago, I'd slapped him when I caught him sneaking a look in the locker room. Now, after doing the same, he thought he deserved it back. I smiled. That was oddly sweet. I stepped toward him, meeting his eyes. His gaze softened. The tension between us changed, suddenly slower, heavier. I saw it in his expression. I felt it in mine. I leaned slightly toward him. His eyes flickered shut. Then, at the last second, I slapped him hard across the face. He reeled back, holding his cheek. Now, I said, grinning, we're even. He winced, rubbing his face. Oh, seriously? I laughed, genuinely this time. Swash was still rubbing his cheek, shaking his head, but he was smiling too. Thanks for listening to today's BL story. If it made your heart skip a beat, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Only here on BL Stories, where love knows no limits.